When I first started Bleach all those years ago as a wee lad, I was introduced to the world of Soul Reapers through one character. Her name was Rukia Kuchiki. Through her, I was able to journey through Soul Society along with Ichigo and Cour and learn about Soul Society and its protectors. My excitement for the series grew rapidly throughout the Soul Society arc as I got to see the intricacies of the world brilliantly crafted by the mangaka Tite Kubo. As more abilities got introduced and built up, so did my excitement, especially after learning about the iconic ability known as bankai, which gave us all shivers down our spines when we first heard it get uttered. The generational ability that only the extremely gifted captains had, along with a few others. An ability that showed to everyone that you were amongst the elite Soul Reapers. An ability that was tied to the soul. An ability that became one of the most iconic in anime history. I was thrilled to see Ichigo activate his bankai for the first time after an extremely intense bout of training, all for the sake of saving the person who risked her standing in society to save him and introduced him to the world of Shinigami, Rukia. At first, I thought Rukia would be your standard damsel in distress, but thankfully she ended up being far more than that. As the series progressed, so did she, both mentally and combat-wise, when it came to using her Sanpakuto Sode no Shirayuki. Throughout all this time, I wondered to myself, when would Rukia ever get her bankai? Even after 300 episodes, she seemingly had not touched the realm of bankai, and I was left yearning for one. Then I started reading the Bleach manga, and through the 1000-year Blood War arc, my prayers were answered in chapter 570. Even after seeing Rukia's beautiful bankai, I always wondered how it would look with animation, in full color with an amazing soundtrack playing while she covered the world around her in ice. Don't get it twisted, the manga was incredible in showing Rukia's bankai, but there was always a yearning to see it finally get animated. When we were hitting the 10-year mark for Bleach's anime hiatus, I was losing hope, but then the announcement came, and I finally realized that I could see Rukia's bankai get animated, amongst many others. Now, after all that time, I got to see the animated version of Hakka no Togame, and my goodness, it was glorious. Core 2 of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War is finally here, and it's a mostly Ichigo-less season, so how does it hold up? Thankfully, the cast of Bleach is strong enough to stand alone without the main character, and during this core we were hit with a plethora of different fights between the Gote 13 captains and the Ritters. We also got some content that wasn't in the manga that expands more upon the Soul King and the burden he carries, along with some more fan service moments. No, I'm not talking about Orihime's outfit. I meant Shinji's bankai. It was really cool to finally see it, even if it was used on a squad of bums that Shinji could have annihilated by just breathing. The sad part is that Shinji got absolutely destroyed by Bambietta moments after talking all that shit. Shinji, you're awesome, but that L was embarrassing. We also got to see Komamura versus Bambietta, Toji's long lost ancestor versus Hitsugaya, Baz B doing Baz B things, Rojiro and Kensei versus Mask the Masculine, and you know, those were definitely fights. I feel like the pacing is going way too fast to really appreciate these battles. Like Komamura, for example. We got to see him go through the Jinka ritual and use Kokujo Tengen Myo Dangai Joe, but the fight in the form lasted like 3 seconds. The idea of Komamura telling Tosen to not throw his life away for the sake of revenge, just to do it in order to avenge Yamamoto is great and all, but it happened so fast that it was hard for me to really care about it, since we'd immediately move on to the next fight. This was the case for most of the battles in Core 2, but I understand why it was going so fast. Kubo obviously added more content into this section of 1000-Year Blood War, and I don't think anyone wanted to see long, drawn-out fights for everything. Still, I wish these were given more emphasis so the conclusions of these fights would hit harder. Anyways, onto the good stuff of the season, and I'm gonna start by talking about easily my favorite part so far, which was the showcase of Rukia's bankai against Äs Nödt, who embarrassed Byakuya so badly earlier that fans had to riot to bring him back. The visualization of fear coursing through Rukia's body while Äs Nödt narrated was really cool, and his philosophy about every living thing having something they fear was pretty interesting. I really like the art switch up here as well, along with the skin crawling bugs, which also made my skin crawl. Rukia explaining and activating her bankai shortly after was done wonderfully, especially as we got to see the fear course through Äs Nödt himself. I could really appreciate the scale of Rukia's bankai seeing it animated for the first time, and like Byakuya said, it was gorgeous. Everything about Rukia's bankai was done justice, from the visuals to the music. I even found myself caring for Äs Nödt a bit more as he was defeated by Rukia and finding out what his true fear was. I had the biggest grin on my face when Byakuya finally told Rukia how strong she truly is and how she's grown over such a long period of time. The relationship has been masterfully developed throughout the series, and finally seeing Rukia's insecurities get melted away along with her bankai from her brother's acknowledgement was amazing, especially considering what his attitude towards her was during Soul Society. I've been waiting damn near 10 years to hear him say this to her. Our boy Kenpachi also had an amazing battle with Gremmy, although for this bout I really wish it was longer. Gremmy's power of imagination is one that led to an insane visual spectacle between him and Kenpachi, and even though we got to see all sorts of cool shit from guns blazing America style to a giant meteor plummeting from the sky, I still feel like it could have been done a little better. It felt like half the damn fight was Gremmy monologuing what his power is and how he's virtually unstoppable. I know his powers stem from his imagination, but man, he was just yapping out there before shortly getting annihilated. In fact, he was talking so much and explaining his abilities that I realized that he shared the same voice actor with Tanjiro, since Tanjiro does the same thing all the time. I remember sitting back in my chair and being like, I swear I've heard this cadence before when it comes to explaining powers. Yep, it was Natsuki Hanai. Still love them both though. If the fight was given a little more time to breathe along with Gremmy, I feel like it could have been even better than what we had gotten. I wasn't really given a reason to care about Gremmy since he came and left so quickly, and I feel like his ideology could have been explored a little more if we were given more time to process it so that we could feel for him during his death. Still, the battle between the self-proclaimed strongest Quincy and the self-proclaimed strongest Shinigami was an absolute thrill to see. You know a fight is going crazy when they whip out the black and white transition, just like how I'm doing here. If you've enjoyed this video so far, please feel free to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. I really enjoyed Ichigo's return since, you know, he's the main character, and man was it satisfying to see him come back. You could really feel how much stronger he has gotten since training at the Royal Palace, and he was handling multiple Stern Raiders with ease. I'm really excited to see him next Cour. I was surprised with how cool Renji was in this season as well. I'm so used to clowning on him and him taking L's that I forgot how sick his full bankai was, and I can't lie, his line about being a villain when he was up against Masked Masculine was cold. In terms of anime only content, I really like what Kubo's adding more about Squad Zero and the Soul King. We're really starting to see what the Soul King has to go through in order to maintain the different worlds and the burden he takes on by just simply existing. This is highlighted through Ichigo's journey to the shrine, which also revealed Ichibe's ulterior motive. The poem about Izura-san though wasn't in the manga, but I really enjoyed it, and it made me think about the Soul King more than just being some god. It also highlighted how Ichibe usually runs schemes in the background that aren't really known to anyone else, and we get to see that he's a character that believes the ends justify the means, as this was highlighted by the fact that he was testing to see if Ichigo was a suitable vessel to hold the raindrops of the Soul King. The added scene of Ichibe taking All Mighty from Yuha using the left hand of the Soul King was really cool as well, and it gave a valid explanation as to why Yuha couldn't use All Mighty when Yamamoto tossed his entire race into the oven. This core was never going to be the greatest in Bleach 1000-year Blood War, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. I still would have liked the pacing to be a bit slower, but now that it's done with, I'm excited to see what's to come. The additions to the anime have been very tasteful so far, although I'm sure some of you are in shambles that we didn't see this panel animated. Don't worry, Yoruichi has something in store for you. Thank goodness Squad Zero is getting more screen time too. They felt like genuine bum-ass letdowns in the manga bar Ichibe, but it seems like all of them are finally going to be cooking for a bit this time.